and welcome to National Focus. I'm Alia Martin. In the headlines, Discover Dominica Authority executives pledge to redouble efforts to make Dominica the premier tourist destination. CEO of DDA appeals to patrons to prepare early for this year's World Creole Music Festival. And 10 contributors to Dominica's culture honored by the Division of Culture. The details of the headline stories and more when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you go out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand. That's what I think. We're all connected. It's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. The new Festivals and Events Manager at the Discover Dominica Authority, Mrs. Natalie Walsh, has gotten off to a good start in her new position. Mrs. Walsh, who took up her position and responsibilities in March 2023, says it was immediately apparent that there was a lot of hard work involved in promoting Dominica as a destination of choice for potential visitors. Speaking as a guest on Focus on Government and Development Thursday night, Mrs. Walsh said she joined the DDA in the middle of the Yachting Festival, a very busy time for the organization.
As I said, I started with the Yachting Festival, then we went right into the Jazz and Creole Music Festival. But also, it has been very, very rewarding as well. We have a great team at DFC, and I also get a lot of support from our CEO, Mr. Colin Piper, and the Ministry of Tourism. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to take Dominica's entertainment industry to a whole new level. So I'm excited, very, very excited, because we have a lot of different, events on the calendar for this year, and I'm just looking forward to hosting, many more here in Dominica.
The Discover Dominica Authority has just staged a successful 12th edition of Jazz and Creole, and Mrs. Walsh says the DDA is focused on ensuring that visitors to Dominica experience the uniqueness of the destination.
We strive to make Dominica's festival, firstly a world-class festival. There are many different areas we need to improve on so that can be a world-class festival. But just look at Jazz and Creole festival. The feedback thus far is really good, and we're getting very, very positive feedback from Jazz and Creole Festival. And we are just looking at planning for World Creole Music Festival, and we have started speaking to a number of stakeholders in the industry. We have already started looking at the artists, for World Creole Music Festival in terms of what is required to make it, a world-class festival and to give, patrons a very good experience, not just the locals, but, persons coming from, the region, persons coming, from the USA, the UK. We really want to give them a first-class experience when they land, on our destination.
Ms. Kimberly King has been Destination Marketing Manager at Discover Dominica Authority for just over a year.
I am responsible for formulating the marketing strategy for Dominica, implementing that strategy, and really evaluating the results of those different marketing campaigns while working with different source market representatives. We have source market representatives in the US, the UK, France, French West Indies, also looking at the Caribbean.
Ms. King noted that coming out of COVID-19, patrons wanted a very authentic experience, and this makes destination marketing very competitive.
Every destination, every Caribbean island is anting their game. And the only way to really differentiate yourself is by your culture. Dominica's culture is absolutely amazing. That Creole influence, last year for the first time I was able to experience all of October independence celebrations, World Creole Music Festival. And it's really amazing to stand by and look at person's dress, look at the food, listen to the music. And that's something that we need to really sell because it makes Dominica different. And that has to be included in any spiel. It's a pillar strategy, yes, but it has to be included in any talking points, whether it be at a trade show, whether it is we speaking to persons of why they should come to Dominica. The Kalinago community also is something that is pretty up there as that makes Dominica very distinct.
The Division of Culture embarked on a community drive to honor 10 individuals who have made significant contributions to culture in Dominica. Adicia Burton reports.
10 individuals have been awarded as part of the Dominica Festival of Arts, Domfesta celebrations, as the Division of Culture executed their Team Culture community drive on May 4, 2023. Staff of the Division of Culture were joined by Miss Dominica 2023, Adicia Burton, Madam Wabduyet Anne-Marie Wallace, and Miss Wabduyet Nikez Moransi, who made the presentations to the recipients. The delegation of 30 individuals traveled across Dominica to present the awards in several villages, including Grand Bay, Goodwill, Stock Farm, Mont John, La Plaine, Castle Bruce, and the Kalinago territory. The recipients received awards for their stellar and unwavering contributions to culture in the field of traditional dance and song, drama, theatre, traditional dressmaking, and craft making.
The purpose of what we're doing is not just to honor people. Yes, we pay respects to people through all kinds of ways, the national awards, the Golden Drum, which is the highest cultural award. But what tends to happen is that a lot of times people vote for these awards. So you'll find the prominent people, the household names, are the ones who always get thrusted in the thick of those things. And then you have people who you know their contributions, but they don't really get the recognition that they deserve. So we took this opportunity to recognize people who may not be household names.
Parliamentary representative of the Salibia constituency, Honorable Kozia Frederick, applauds the efforts of the Division of Culture and says the initiative recognizes the significant contributions of individuals that would normally go unnoticed.
I'm really happy that the Cultural Division can spend some time in the Kalinago space, and more importantly to share the experience of the Kalinago people with the rest of the world, and especially to honor the elder, Elizabeth Valmont here, Majo, and her son, Jimbo. And it's a very powerful initiative from the Cultural Division to honor people who are sometimes forgotten in the entire development of our culture. So I'm very delighted as the Member of Parliament for the Salibia area, Kalinago Brave, to welcome the Cultural Division into that space and to honor the folks who keep holding the baton and sharing their experiences, sharing the love for culture with the rest of the world.
The awardees include Ivan George and Wilfred Bruno from Grand Bay, Marvelyn Laron from Goodwill, Annette Toussaint from Stock Farm, Noelina Prince from Grand Form, Bernadette Robin from Mont John, Ezekiel John Baptist from La Plaine, Delma Eugene from Castle Bruce, and Elizabeth Valmont and Gregory Valmont from the Kalinago territory.
This is an example of what staying successful is all about. She succeeded, she liked her culture, and she's giving back. If there's nothing you learn from your teacher, learn that. While you are succeeding, find a place to give back, either to your school, to your family, to your church, to your community, to your country, but give back, and that will keep you going up and up.
I love culture. I love pageantry. It's a love that I got from my grandmother. She's now deceased, Hannah Rose Carlton, and I want to give her that honor. She was the Kokoi Tori queen, and I never got to take part in culture, so I decided when I become a teacher, I am going to give it my all. This year is a good year for me. I am directly and indirectly connected to 4 Krongs.
The recipients spoke of how greatly honored they felt to receive their respective awards.
You all don't know how happy I am this morning. You already don't know how happy I am. Because when you all reach, you all meet me in my woman clothes, in my home clothes. And then I decide, well, since what, that is something going to happen, I must change my clothes. So you say, I just put this on, I tie my hair. I was not prepared because I did not expect that. But I'm very, very happy this morning, very happy. And I'm saying thank you for thinking of me.
Chief Cultural Officer Mr. Ilson Matthew was pleased with the results of this initiative and is thankful to those who have made an impact in the development and preservation of culture in Dominica. He hopes to continue to find creative methods to award deserving individuals in the field of culture. Adicia Burton for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Adicia, for that report. The countdown is on for the anticipated World Creole Music Festival as the dates for the 2023 celebrations were announced moments after the conclusion of the 12th edition of Jazz and Creole. Kuvia John reports.
Patrons of the World Creole Music Festival are advised to begin early preparations as this year's festival promises to be bigger than ever. Originally launched to promote the Dominican tourism products and create a world-class platform for indigenous Dominican music, the World Creole Music Festival has become a renowned staple on the regional music gala calendar. With 3 nights of entertainment beginning on the final Friday in October each year, patrons are treated to a variety of star power coming from the Caribbean, the French Antilles, Africa, and North America, arranged to attract all generations. Chief Executive Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, Mr. Colin Piper, says one of the goals of DDA and the Dominica Festivals Committee is to learn from the mistakes of the 2022 edition.
In terms of WCMF 2023, we're going to make sure we look at all the lessons learned from 2022 and make sure that those are in place and just make sure that we leave no stone unturned. You know, it's to the point now where WCMF is a brand of its own. You know, people come to Dominica because it's World Creole Music Festival, and sometimes they don't even know who's playing. You know, for some people that's important because that's they want to see certain artists. So we have to be mindful of that.
He says that while the festival was first developed to showcase Dominica's culture, steps have been taken over the years to also attract a younger audience.
The festival was put in place to make sure that Dominica's and the Creole culture remained alive and could be exported. And so we cannot lose fact of that. We must continue to have the Creole aspect in the World Creole Music Festival. But we understand that the most popular demographic that is at the festival now is 20s and early 30s. And their music is soca, dancehall, and Afrobeat, which wasn't originally part of the compas, zouk, kadas, bouillon part of things. So we have to educate them and make them appreciate that, and we have to provide them with enough artists that so that they feel like they'll have a good time at the show.
Mr. Piper encouraged patrons to book their flights early, as the DDA has put in place new measures to create an overall experience for the WCMF.
We send out posts, save the date, here's a video from last time, and people respond, where's the artist, where's the lineup, where's the lineup? Are you really waiting for the lineup for World Creole Music Festival to buy your ticket? Because if you are, you're missing out on a lot of things. Right? I mean, do you not believe in the World Creole Music Festival and what it has delivered? The VIP, the forecourt experience, the craft vending zone, the food court, all these sorts of things that you cannot commit at this point in time. And every time we put out a post, we get, oh, where's the lineup, where's the lineup? I mean, surely, I believe that we've done a good enough job with the brand that you know what to expect.
The CEO explained that one of the new initiatives that might be implemented this year is the revealing of the lineup in segments.
So what we want is for people, especially Dominicans on the outside, to amplify any positive message about World Creole Music Festival so we can get more people interested to come, right? And we ourselves are trying to get away from the fact that it's like the World Creole Music Festival doesn't exist until the lineup is launched, right? I think for 20 years we've created that monster, and now we have to figure out, because things are different. Sometimes artists don't get back to you at the time that you want to launch the entire lineup. So I think this year you'll probably see 1 or 2 or 3 announced, and then as we get them announced, we continue to fill up the roster. But it's difficult sometimes to get everybody to agree, because sometimes artists are waiting 2 offers and they string you along until they figure out who's the better offer or which one they want to go to.
Mr. Piper told patrons that they should expect a few surprises in the lineup this year, as they aim to bring artists who have never performed in Dominica, as well as some who haven't performed on island for a long period of time.
I would just encourage people to, book their flights, book their hotels, get everything in order, because we're not going to disappoint in terms of we're trying to look at artists who necessarily have not been to Dominica before, because you don't want to see an artist you saw 3, 4, 5 years ago. You want to see something new and different, and this is kind of what we're thinking about. But we're also trying to bring back some who may not have performed for quite a while that were crowd favorites. So we've got some surprises in the mix, and we'll just try to do the best that we can.
The 2022 edition of the World Creole Music Festival featured artists such as Burna Boy, Shenseea, Kes the Band, Sizzler, Dexter Daps, Patrice, Christopher Martin, Asa Banton, Signal Band, Triple K International, Midnight Groovers, the original WCK, and many others. This year's event is scheduled for October 27th to 29th, 2023. Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
What should you do when an earthquake strikes?
I think I'll try and get out of the house.
I'd run.
Get outside the building ASAP.
All wrong answers, and what you don't know can kill you.
Do you know that more people die from running in an earthquake than from staying put?
Surprised? Sure, but what do? Just sit there in the middle of an earthquake?
Just remember 3 things that could save your life in an earthquake. Drop, cover, hold.
Drop. When you feel an earthquake, drop to the floor. It's actually the safest place in the building.
Cover. Get under a bed or sturdy table and cover your head. It's protection from falling debris.
Hold. Anchor yourself to a firm support.
Stay right where you are till help comes, or until it's safe to come out.
Visit www.weready.org to know more about surviving earthquakes and much more.
Because what you don't know about earthquakes
can kill.
Welcome back. Parents who have children together are being reminded that they do not have the luxury of ignoring or not being on speaking terms. In his contribution to debate on the Child Maintenance Act, Senator the Honorable Ostel Lockhart noted that when 2 parents fight, it's always the child who suffers.
The conversation surrounding child maintenance is quite contentious. And while it is men, Mr. Speaker, who are predominantly the culprits, women also are known to abandon their responsibilities. Your children did not ask to be born. When 2 consenting adults produce an offspring, the responsibility to provide adequate care falls squarely on both parents through the developmental stages until that child becomes an adult. Mr. Speaker, the practice where one parent feels that it's okay to go MIA, go missing in action, and abdicate their responsibilities, while one parent is left to carry the burden of child rearing, is a growing concern.
Senator Lockhart says any rift between parents has the potential of depriving the child of his or her needs.
A solid and intact family structure can have a significantly positive impact on a child's present and future well-being, and offers countless benefits for both adults and children, and by extension, the country. This by no means, Mr. Speaker, indicates that parents who no longer have a romantic relationship should stay just for the sake of the child. What it implies is a healthy relationship between both parents where each contributes to the holistic development of the child will have a positive impact.
Senator Lockhart says it can be difficult to be a single parent, but he welcomes the legislation which seeks justice for the child.
Being a single parent is a challenging task. This legislation is correcting an injustice that many parents in Dominica are presently facing. No parent should be allowed to walk away from their responsibilities, walk away from their obligations, and this act is ensuring that this will not continue. It mandates that each parent is obligated to provide reasonably for the child's maintenance, whether or not the child is in the parent's custody. This includes, Mr. Speaker, half our stepchildren, who we sometimes call outside child.
In the absence of the new legislation, some parents would remain free to resort to any number of excuses to avoid their obligation to care for their children.
In some cases, Mr. Speaker, internal pressures within the household restrict our parents, and usually men, by the women, from providing and interacting with this outside child, Mr. Speaker. Section 7G of this bill speaks to maintaining the standard of living enjoyed by the family while the parents and child reside together. We have seen repeatedly situations where families fall into hardship after one parent, again, usually the man, moves out. Financial support becomes irregular and does not come in at all, while the focus is placed on the new home.
Another village council has been sworn in to champion the rights of their residents. Kavia John reports.
8 councillors took the oath of office, pledging to uphold the rights of the citizens at the 18th inaugural meeting of the Tatan, Savanpai, Tukari and Cottage Village Council. The councillors were sworn in on Wednesday, May 3, 2023, at the Savanpai Primary School, before receiving their credentials from Minister of Responsibility for Local Government, Honorable Greta Roberts. Sandra Andre, Romelia Romain Burton, Vernon John Baptist, Catherine Joseph and Lucina Sejan were the elected councillors, while Anita Florita Joseph, Ashton Mason and Roseanne Mason were nominated. Acting District Development Officer for the North, Mrs. Barbara Phillip, urged the councillors to be accountable and transparent with the resources made available to them.
I want to congratulate this team of 6 women and 2 men who have taken and accepted the challenge to lead your community for these next 3 years. Councillors, you have been charged with the good governance of your community. Therefore, you are expected to be accountable and transparent in conducting the affairs of your beloved community. Please manage the state and community resources efficiently as you focus on the economic development of your community. As you serve your term of office, I encourage you to meet with your residents and discuss and prioritize the needs of your people and adequately utilize the limited resources available for the good of your community.
Outgoing Chairman Mr. Brendan Mason thanked the residents for giving him the opportunity to serve them for the last 3 years.
It's not the obstacle that is placed in front of you, but how you go about handling those obstacles. So, with that being said to me, I was skeptical and I was thinking, she's right. There might be a high tree in your way. You don't have to go cutting from the bottom because it might fall on you. You have to cut from the top, from down. So when she told me that, I worked my way through it and I did what I could. And I'm here today to say thank you for giving me that opportunity, that responsibility for 3 years.
Meanwhile, incoming chairman Mr. Ashton Mason stated that the availability of nominated candidates for the village council shows a high level of volunteerism in the community. He reassured residents that this newly sworn-in council looks forward to working with them for the development of their communities.
Rest assured that this new council endeavors to work assiduously to continue growing your confidence in the local government movement by building your trust in us and working hand in hand with us to attempt to bring our community back to its glory days when volunteerism, community involvement, and participation in council's activities was our hallmark. Let me commend the 13 persons who have shown their interest in serving the residents of our communities. This council looks forward to engaging with you as we put plans and programs together for our community.
Member of Parliament for the Cottage constituency, Honorable Roland Royer, congratulated the new council on their appointment.
Today we begin a new chapter and have the singular privilege of becoming part of our history with you, the new councillors, while forging a path to our future. I want to congratulate our new council and our new chairman, and I wish you well. I think the theme that the Division of Local Government has adopted for the observance of a Local Government Month this year is quite fitting. A more resilient local government system that delivers quality services. And I suspect this inauguration is a first for me as well. The theme for the month is in sync with government's mandate to become the first climate resilient country in the world. So I want to congratulate you and your efforts and wish you well for successful month's activity.
Minister for Community Development, Honorable Greta Roberts, noted that to have a productive local government division, there must be effective leadership at the community level.
I want to impress upon you that community leadership is at the heart of modern local government. Councils must work in partnership with local communities and organizations, whether it be public, voluntary, community, or private sector organizations, to develop a vision for the area, and most importantly, work collaboratively to improve the services and quality of life of the residents of your community. Such collaborative efforts between council and government have brought tangible benefits to community residents and have improved the overall quality of life of all citizens.
Meanwhile, Minister for Tourism, Honorable Dennis Charles, told the new council that to uphold government's mandate of creating a sustainable life for all citizens, they must collaborate with central government.
Your dedication and support are appreciated, especially as you sacrifice to continuously share your time, talents, and treasures for the good of others. As part of government's mandate to develop our people socially, economically, and ultimately to make things better for you, our people, it is important that the council works closely with the parliamentary representative and central government in order to ensure that all residents are engaged in the transformation of our country into a dynamic economy.
The Tartan, Savonpai, Tukari, and Cottage Village Council was first inaugurated in 1973. Kavia John for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Kavia, for that report. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Aliyah Martin. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.